I haven't shot a muzzleloader in a couple years, so it'll be good to kind of get back into it, get the feel of it, and hopefully lay down a bunch of deer with this new gun. She kicks.
I feel pretty good about tonight. I'm done, dude. I cannot believe that.
So the late gun season for Ohio is in just a few days, and I just got a Thompson Center Encore, so I need to get it sighted in, get it all dialed in for this upcoming weekend, and make sure we're shooting straight. I haven't shot a muzzleloader in a couple years, so it'll be good to kind of get back into it, get the feel of it, and hopefully lay down a bunch of deer with this new gun. Good little coffee drink. This is all the stuff that is required for muzzleloader hunting. I'm gonna dive into that just a little bit once I get up there and all set up on the bench, but muzzleloading does take a bunch of different stuff just to shoot the gun and keep it maintained. Last but not least, the gun. So for the target, I'm gonna be using classic box. I built a rest for the gun last night, but I didn't have enough wood to build a decent target, so just gotta go with the old box. So I'm gonna start out at around 100 yards and see if that's on, then decide if I need to go in or out from there. This is gonna be 85. 65. 99.7. Pretty close. Target set up. Should be good. Starting out at 100 yards, and we'll work our way back from there. This table is a mess. Gotta get it organized. This is my shooting rest, homemade, obviously. Just made it last night. Works pretty good. Coffee drink. All right, so for my muzzleloader setup, I'm using the Hornady Board Driver FTX. I think this is a 20 pack. Got it at Cabela's. Most of this stuff I just went and picked up at Cabela's, so that's why it's still in the package. And then I got 100 Winchester shot shell primers. So that should last a little while, except primers go a lot quicker than bullets just because of how you use them. And then I got a measure, powder measure. And then I got AMSOIL firearm lubricant and cleaner. That'll be later on. Obviously we use that, and then a brush for the barrel. And then Blackhorn 209 for the powder. I've heard a lot of good things about that, and then obviously I have swabs, but my camera is setting on them right now. Then hearing protection, and last but not least, the old TC Encore. So got the target set out at about 100 yards now. Gonna load this gun up for the first time ever and take a shot out of it, see where we hit. So first thing I'm gonna do is just shoot a primer through the barrel. Sounds nice and cleaned out. First primer done. So now, time to get her loaded. So this is what the actual muzzleloader sabot looks like. This is obviously the cage right here, the wad in a sense, and then this is the actual bullet that will be flying. So this powder measure I got at Cabela's the other night, and the bottom just slides out and it has a reading on it, and you can see exactly how much powder you're gonna get. So I want 110, I'm just gonna lock it in there at 110. Now, when I fill this thing up, I can just twist over the top and that'll completely seal it off, and I should have a really even powder measure every single time. So right there, sealed it off, knocked off the top of the grains. Gonna cover this back up. Now, it's ready to pour down the barrel. It's very nice and firmly seated in there. Now, time for the primer, and then it's gonna go bang. Also in the scope, I need to make sure I'm dialed in for 100 because that's how far I'm shooting. Just pop in the primer and she's ready to go. Primer going in. She's ready. All right. 100 yards, first shot with the Thompson Center Encore. Here we go. She kicks. Just a touch high and a touch to the right, like that high and that far to the right. So, first shot for me out of this thing, that's not bad. I'm gonna probably just do another one for grouping, just to make sure before I adjust anything. Again, at 100 yards, see where I hit, see what it looks like. But yeah, that thing, it kicks. All right, time for the second shot. 100 yards. Actually, first of all, I need to put a primer in. That always helps when you put a primer in. I was right on it when the shot broke. That felt like a good shot. That one was just a touch high. So one really nice feature about this Thompson Center Encore is when you break the barrel, to get the breech plug out, you just pull out this little metal piece here, flip it over, undo the breech plug a quarter turn, and the whole thing just pops right out. So now I have easy access to clean this. I can see straight down the barrel, which there is a lot of stuff in the barrel just from 2 shots. So I'm gonna swab it out, maybe spray some oil down there, and then continue shooting. So I know there's a plane flying overhead right now, but as you can see right there, this is what the wad looked like after I sent it through the muzzleloader. So obviously just from like 2 shots, there's a lot of buildup that happens in there. So it's good to swab it out, honestly, probably after every shot. So I'm still learning, but we're getting better. And once I'm done here tonight, I'll make sure I clean it all really well and then get ready to hunt with it on Saturday. All my shots have been just a little bit to the right. So both shots that I felt the most confident in were about 2 inches to the right and both high, but one was up higher than the other because I did 110 grains for that shot, and this last one I did 100 grains. So I'm gonna keep it at 100 grains and just bump the scope a couple inches to the right and see what happens. All right, this morning is the first day of the Ohio lake gun season. As much as I want to take the muzzleloader out, I don't feel super confident with it yet, just because my last shot that I took with it didn't even hit the target at all, and I think that's because I adjusted the scope the wrong way. So I adjusted it back and then countered for it to fix the original shot, and haven't shot it since. So it's like, it's probably on, but I just don't want to risk wounding a deer. So I'm going to take the 350 out this morning, and then if I haven't cut anything this morning, I'll shoot the muzzleloader this afternoon, make sure it's sighted in, and hunt with it this evening. So that's the plan. Just trying to go whack a doe.
This is why you gotta always be sure what you're shooting at. You know, still trying to finish getting set up here. And I looked out, and the deer in the mornings often come from the field out here and work back into the woods. I just happened to look out and saw a deer standing there. I figured it was a doe, but I was a little bit surprised that it was by itself. I looked at him then through the scope and saw he was a buck, probably a 2-year-old, and I could have absolutely drilled him with a gun. The high today is like 30, so it should be a good day for deer movement. If I don't count anything this morning, we'll shoot the muzzleloader again, and then make sure it's dialed in before we take it out tonight. But honestly, I feel pretty good about this morning's sit.
Bat.
So I couldn't really see out, and I heard some running, and I saw 3 deer go by, or I literally saw them like through here go. They ran by me like less than 10 yards, and my scope zoomed into like 9 power, because I was figuring to shoot out in the field, and I heard more running. A little buck came through, and then another buck and a doe, and I was like bleeding trying to get them to stop, and they never stopped. And I shouldn't have shot, but I was like, it's so close, like I could probably shoot it running. And I shot, and I think I hit some brush right here. Like none of the deer reacted. I'm pretty sure I didn't hit it. I probably shouldn't have shot, but it was close enough. I'm like, and they weren't running super fast. I figured I could get it. So I think now there's 6 deer in this woods back here. And I don't know what they were running from. They all just came hauling down this edge. And I was thinking, here's my perfect opportunity at a doe, because, I mean, there was a couple does in the group. The one I shot at was a big one. It was very last. But I don't know why that whole group, I don't know why the 1.5-year-old buck was with them or what they were doing. So it's unfortunate I couldn't make anything happen, but at least there's deer in here for this evening.
Well, it is now 3 o'clock on the late gun season, Saturday. It's my last crack at it really, with the gun at least, because I want to be gone over the late muzzleloader season. That'd be a fun season to be around for. It's like 4 days in January, but I'm going to be gone for that, so it'd be really nice to kill a deer here tonight. But heading over here tonight, it's 3:06 right now. Shooting light ends at like 5:38 or something like that, so we only got like 2.5 hours. The deer usually go out in the field behind the woods, so I'm gonna set up and hoping that they do what they usually do. And I know they're in there because I saw them this morning, so I feel really good about tonight. It should be really good odds. I shot my muzzleloader this afternoon, finished getting it all the way sighted in, so should be golden. I'm ready to go lay the hammer down on a doe. Let's get it. It is still quite windy and cold. Real feel right now is like 18. I'm sure this morning it was a lot lower than that. But deer should be moving.
So I'm all set up now. Kind of a cool setup. fence line. They're probably gonna be in this field straight out from me. So I got the back camera set up on my left, backpack with the Encore. Gonna be rested on the backpack. Honestly, pretty solid setup. I feel pretty good about tonight, but only time will tell. See what happens. It's definitely cold, and I wish I had a place to put my back on, but should be a good evening. Well, that happened pretty quick. Just heard something running, so I got ready. A fawn came out at like 10 yards and walked probably with like inside of 10 yards of me. But I didn't shoot it because it was a fawn. She's coming this way. Don't mind me over here just reloading a muzzleloader. Put another primer in just in case, but it's just not meant to be, I guess. Different primer. That sucks. She's literally standing in the field. 150 yards. I pulled the trigger 3 times. Nothing. I think the barrel, I might not have cleaned the barrel out well enough or something when I cleaned it. That sucks. I'm gonna try reloading because I got nothing else to do. Here we go. Alright, back tight. We're almost out of light. I'm done. I'm done, dude. What? I cannot believe that. Man, so frustrating. I didn't have any trouble with it till today. I don't know if it has something to do with the cold or if I got moisture in the barrel or something, but I pulled the trigger like 4 times on that thing, reloaded it every single time. The shot never went off. I had it happen to me one time when I was sighting in today. Pulled the trigger and it made that like sound. I think that's just the primer going off. Either the powder got wet or there's like oil where the powder is. Dude, I don't know. Oh, that's tough. I'm pretty sure it's probably something that I'm doing or that I did because I haven't been muzzleloading much. But I think it's either my powder. It's something to do with my powder because basically my powder's not blowing up. I don't know. I think the powder probably got wet. I don't know. But we're going to figure it out yet in this video. So stick around. We'll try to figure out what the problem is and how we're going to fix it.
All right, so it is now the next day, and I am out here at our homemade range behind our house. Me and a couple of the guys are out here just shooting guns, making sure they're dialed, and I am gonna try to figure out exactly what went wrong, whether it's the powder got wet or there was condensation somewhere, either in the powder or my primers aren't hitting hard enough, or what went wrong. We got a couple different combinations of powder and primers, and we're just gonna try to figure out what went wrong so that I can prevent doing that, making the same mistake in the future, and to maybe save you a little bit of trouble in the future. So let's figure out what exactly went wrong with the gun in the hunt last night. Like that. That's what happens. So right here you can see smoke. Obviously the primer went off. It's dark. Now my bullet is probably gonna be halfway out the barrel because that's what happened on all the other ones. There you go. Bullet is probably right down about in here. Now that there's a little bit of dirt in the barrel, which is kind of what I wanted, I'm just gonna shoot a dry primer through it to see if that was my issue. Or just kind of clear out the barrel and add a little bit of residue in there. Clean primer. If this next shot doesn't go off, I'm gonna try switching up primers first of all with the same load, and then I'm gonna try switching powders to see if my powder got wet at some point. So I poured some powder down here. Now that I've shot a primer through this, the bullet should go down a lot stiffer because there's a little bit of residue buildup in the barrel, which could have been part of my problem. There might have been too much air in the barrel from cleaning it too often, which wasn't packing down the powder tight enough. So about to see what happens now that I have shot a primer through it, and I'm reloading. Still wasn't super stiff, but making sure it's always packed down tight on the end, so that shouldn't be the issue there. Shooting here at 100 yards again. Hopefully it goes off. That's crazy.
Same thing.
Still, dude, this is the 6th time I pulled the trigger in a row that it's not gone off. I'm gonna literally get a different kind of primer, and then we'll shoot a primer through a different kind of primer with the same load, and then if that still doesn't go off, then we'll switch powders, which means my $90 box of powder is probably wet and not going. So next thing to try to test out to see if it's the issue is primer. So these are the primers that I was shooting, the Winchester 209 shot shell primers. Now these are the CCI 209 primers, so I'm gonna try these instead. Still have the same basic load. Just wanna see if shooting a different primer, if that's the issue or if the issue is the powder or something else. I kinda doubt it's gonna be the primer. Primer fired, nice. 7th straight shot of doing that. So obviously something else is the issue. I'm ready to completely reload, try out a different kind of powder.
I don't have anything to say.
All right, this is Drew's box of Blackhorn 209 that Hasn't been out in the cold as much as mine has. So I'm gonna just literally same box as this right here. Just see if my powder happened to get wet or something. All right, different powder, same bullets. So far, since it's not gone off, I've shot 2 empty primers through it. It's definitely a little bit harder to get down, which I think is probably good. Like I'm rock bottom there. The powder should all be packed in at the bottom. I guess it doesn't matter what primer I use because that didn't show to be anything. So I'm just gonna use my Winchester primers. My $90 box of powder is bad. That's what it is. Powder got wet. That's interesting. I just want to shoot one more to make sure. That would make a ton of sense though. Which also I shot another primer, so maybe that was it. Since Drew's powder went off, I'm gonna switch back to mine because maybe the barrel wasn't sealing off right or something. So if my powder doesn't go off, then we know that the issue was wet powder. So let's test it out.
Definitely going down harder.
Yeah, which is good, I think. Should be good. All right, back on my powder now. Gotta see what happens. See if it was the powder or barrel not sealed off right. All right, this will be interesting to see what happens now. Kind of hoping it doesn't go off because then we know like that was it. All right, here we go. So what it's looking like, what that means I think is that the barrel wasn't sealing off right because I cleaned it way too much.
See what would happen if you clean it again.
That'd be interesting. We could try it. Just dry swab it a couple times, see what happens. Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right in the bullseye. Let's go. That makes sense if like, I mean that's probably a big beginner mistake is over cleaning it, and I didn't realize that until Greg said something last night. When I messaged him that I probably am cleaning it too much. He said he would recommend, well, I can just look. He said swab the barrel clean, then dry it with a clean dry patch. Fire off a primer with no powder. That gives it a little bit of friction to hold to. Then load, prime, and shoot, which is just the normal steps. And then no swabbing between shots. And then after 10 shots, clean the barrel, remove the breech plug, and clean the outside and the flash hole. So every 10 shots, we should be taking out the breech plug, which I cleaned last night, making sure there's no residue buildup on that, and then cleaning out the barrel every 10 shots. As a first-time muzzleloader owner, I was like, I do not, and this is like a sweet gun, I did not want to get it rusty, so that's why I was over cleaning it, and it is stainless steel, I think it's stainless steel, so like, it's not going to rust very easy anyway, but I was definitely cleaning it too much. And this video is not about like how to clean your muzzleloader or anything, but just a mistake that obviously I made literally the last night, and just wanted to figure out what the issue was, number one, and be able to help other muzzleloader hunters, and especially first time or new muzzleloader hunters. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. I guess we're just gonna swab down the barrel literally one time and then shoot it again. All right. It sounds dumb. But so now what? Was it too clean now?
Try a different primer.
I tried this, but it's never worked yet.
That seems risky. It does seem risky.
I'll shoot one of your primers just for kicks. And it literally, it could still be the powder.
Yeah, it could be.
Now that was a hang fire. What was that? So what does that mean? You know, that was a different primer.
Here, you should try your powder, your primers, and when you load it load it hard.
Okay. I heard the, and I was like, oh. Part of my issue might be just not pushing it down, sealing it all the way, but I feel like I'm pushing down like pretty hard. So just gonna go again and see what happens. Gonna load it up, everything how I normally would, but make sure that the bullet is firmly seated. A little bit more than what I have been doing. I've been doing it quite a bit, but not the amount that maybe I should have been. Drew said when he loads his muzzleloader, he presses down multiple times to make sure it's sealed off. So I'm gonna try that with basically a clean barrel, because with a clean barrel, it shouldn't be misfiring just because of that. But before I do that, I'm gonna shoot a primer through it as recommended, then see what happens. All right, let's go. So this will be interesting. I shot it or swapped it out once. Now we'll just see how easy it goes down. That seems about right. Like that's in there. That's not going anywhere. Now let's see what happens. And this is with my primers again, because the exact same load with my primer didn't go off, but it hang fired and went off with yours. There we go. I sealed it off. So that,
Try it again, see if it does.
I can't say that was always my problem though, because like it was always fairly sealed off, but I think the difference, I think it's a combination of ultimately too much air being in the barrel by not sealing it off enough and not shooting a primer through before. It was that kind of that whole combination, because I cleaned it yesterday after I took it hunting, and I didn't shoot a primer through it until I tried shooting at that deer last night. So that was probably my issue. Combination of not shooting a primer through, which I didn't realize how important that actually is, as well as smashing the barrel all the way down to make sure it's completely sealed off. So we're gonna just take one more shot and see what happens. Also, I think I smoked that one. So I just ran 3 swabs through it to try to get it back to pretty much how it'd be clean. Last one doesn't have a lot on it. So now we should be pretty much clean. I'm gonna clean off the breech plug a little bit. I'm gonna take one more shot then to make sure that it is the combination of packing it down and shooting a primer through beforehand, before you take it hunting, that was the problem. I'll probably end up shooting 2 primers in the future, just every time after I get it out, just to make sure that there's enough there. So now that we've shot both primers through, there should be just a little bit of residue in there to help seal off the bullet once we get the bullet seated down. Then just load it up and hit the woods. I can tell already, like, after what it is now, after I shot 2 primers compared to what it was right after I deep cleaned, no primers, like that's how it should go down. We're just gonna make sure it's sealed off down there, which, I mean, it's all part of learning, and hopefully I can save a couple viewers a little bit of trouble. And that's kind of my goal with this video. Obviously, I wanted to go out and kill the deer, but because this happened, this is the direction we decided to take with this video. So at this point, I've essentially deep cleaned the barrel and pulled it out of storage as you would when you're ready to go on a hunt. Shot 2 primers through it, so starting kind of with a base, how you would in your muzzleloader routine. Now got it all loaded and ready to shoot at the target or the deer. And there we go. We figured it out. Good work. Thanks for the help, Kendon. Didn't do much, but. So ultimately, we finally figured out what the issue was, and the issue was not shooting a primer after cleaning it and in between shots. Another thing just to watch out for, especially if you're a beginner, which I am, is to make sure that you're pushing all the way down multiple times to make sure that the bullet is pushed as far back into the powder as possible. We tried multiple different combinations of powder, primer, bullets, and ultimately that was the issue, was just not shooting primers through after cleaning it. So Greg recommended cleaning out the barrel every about 10 shots, as well as cleaning out the breech plug. So this breech plug here, as I've said before, is literally the best design of any muzzleloader you'll find. So this little piece here pulls back, not all the way back, otherwise it won't bend over. Just pull it part way back and it'll flip all the way over. Give this breech plug a quarter twist, and just like that, it'll pop straight out. Same goes for putting it in. It has a thing that says up on it, which obviously it'll put that side up, push it in, twist it a quarter turn, flip this thing back, and boom. Your breech plug is back in and ready to go. Overall, super sweet shooting gun. Obviously, it took me a little bit to learn how to use just a muzzleloader in general. So overall, super happy with it. Can't wait to hopefully take this thing out in the field, get to chase some more deer, elk, whatever with it. Unfortunately for this season, I'm done because yesterday was the only chance that I have to hunt during gun season. But hopefully you enjoyed the video of my failure and steep learning curve. And hopefully I was able to save you a little bit of time, a little bit of trouble if you're getting into muzzleloading. And yeah, thanks for watching.